Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So today, Benjamin and I have been reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I've been reading it aloud to him. We are about 50% of the way through, and I said we should stop and give a little update on our feels. So I don't really want to give away too much of the book, but the premise, well, I feel like it's really popular, so most people have already read it, but like the premise so far is that Evelyn Hugo was a big time Hollywood star, super, super famous. She is like 80 now, and she is finally revealing secrets and telling her life story to a like reporter person, Monique, who's sort of the other person, other main character, I guess.
Yeah. Who has gotten this like gig telling you hearing all of these secrets, but Monique doesn't know why. And I'm assuming it's going to be somehow like there's going to be some little connection somewhere that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. What do you think about that as a framework for Evelyn's story?
I think Evelyn's written very like everything, and it's even said in the book, like everything is calculated. Every word that comes out of her mouth is leaves it on purpose, and I think that's kind of a cool main character. Even like in her old, like in the current times, it seems to be the same way. Like she's just as like snappy and on it, and I like her a lot.
I like Evelyn a lot too. She is manipulative, but like when we first meet her, it's very like go get him. She's willing to do anything
She's
to
hungry.
like climb up and to like make her way in the world. A little bit later, sometimes it seems a little bit more manipulative in a possible hurtful outcome kind of way that she doesn't seem to, she cares about what she wants and doesn't seem to care about other people, but I kind of like that because I don't dislike her for that. I think it's an interesting perspective to have that as a main character. For me, the framework of having Monique writing this story and hearing Evelyn's story is not very interesting. Like I mean I feel like it has to have a point, like you've said, because why would the book be written that way, to have this Monique character who's interviewing Evelyn instead of just like telling Evelyn's story kind of straight up. So I feel like there is going to be some sort of reveal, but I personally find Monique to be annoying and like kind of stupid. Like she asks all these questions and Evelyn is like, were you freaking listening to me? And like every time I'm like, yeah, Monique, that was a stupid question. Like kind of since the get-go. So Monique is not the interesting character Evelyn is. And so I'm hoping that we get a little bit more from Monique's point of view, and like that the reveal is kind of like really worth it, because so far I'm like, I'm the Monique.
I'm hoping like this is like Monique is going to grow on us as the book progresses. Like she's going to start off as being this like, you know, dumb, doesn't really know how to like ask for things, and like because there's already been a part, without spoiling too much,
She's
where
gained some strength. Yeah.
And I think that's very explicitly because of these talks with Evelyn. So
yeah, I just am saying that we're at 50% and I'm not interested in Monique. Every time we go back to Monique's point of view, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, let's get back into Evelyn's story. I just, so it's like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the past portion of this is definitely like
the bulk of the book, right? I just want, to have a structure where Monique and Evelyn are having a relationship, where Evelyn is talking about her life and Monique is trying to function as her biographer in this instance. I don't understand how much Monique has been in this book for me to be not interested in her, So yeah. And what have you thought so far about the husbands we have seen?
Yeah. It feels like men are garbage, first off, obviously. But it definitely feels like the author is trying to hit like every like shitty stereotypical dude, like husband, bad shit trope. So I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah,
it's garbage, but it feels almost like a little bit too like perfect. If that
stereotypical.
Makes no, not
stereotypical. The guys that she's finding are archetypes.
Yeah, but that's the thing is though, there doesn't seem to be any repeats. Like each guy not all of the guys are technically bad guys. I think, technically the first one was, I guess that's a little spoiler, but like the rest of them after that
haven't been great.
Yeah, but they're all like shitty in their own unique, different ways.
Okay.
So like that to me is like it's too like sort of perfect in that regard. So
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, all of them are.
I don't want to like.
They're all trash.
I don't want to like give too much away, but for me, the Celia plotline was not a surprise.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, but I do think it was it's been like very like moving so far. We kind of have just come to a point 50% of the way through.
How you gave me waggly eyebrows, and you're just like, boom, the big plot drama thing that.
Well, I said the plot line, and then that was it. You know, I didn't say what drama went down between the two of them, but the drama like sort of just, I wouldn't say it was resolved, but we're halfway through her story, and I can understand things from both of their points of view. So I felt like that was done really well, like written, because I feel like I could understand where Evelyn was coming from, but I also could understand where Celia was coming from, 100%. Which I think frequently for me, that makes the best and most interesting conflict to read and try to be resolved. Because if you are just cheering for one side and you feel like the other side is a complete idiot, then you don't have sympathy for both sides, So I like that has been well balanced.
Well, sometimes the other side doesn't deserve any sympathy, though. So.
Sure, but, anyway. Do you have any other thoughts at 50%? How are you liking it?
I'm liking it. I'm excited to finish it. I get the hype 100%. Like, it's got me. It's got me. The hooks are in me.
Oh, okay. I know this is like,
I can't stand
this is really like a beloved book, and for me, I'm enjoying it, and I am interested to see where it's going, but I'm not like, can't put it down, so amazing. So I really feel like the second half...
taking over the channel. This is nonsense.
Ben's library card. Yeah. Ben doesn't have a library card.
Ben's book barn, because Ben spends too much money, so...
Ben's book barn. I'm liking it, but I really want the second half to like blow me out of the water, and I feel like that better be in the resolution with the like Evelyn and Monique togetherness storyline. So we'll tune back in maybe at the end, or maybe when something interesting happens, so stay tuned. So we are back with the final thoughts on The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. We finished it last night. There were tears.
Oh no, I think I give it the Avengers Endgame treatment, where it's like the beginning of the third act, I just start losing it. It's pretty much what happened here. Like yeah, there was definitely like tears, and we'd recover. We'd be like, okay, all right. And then like 3 pages later, I'd be like, and then, and I was reading out loud, so I was like trying to like hold all my tears back to be able to continue reading it. So yeah, what are your final thoughts? Your overall thoughts? It was incredible. I hated feeling feels, but I think that the characters were well developed. They hint at the twist the whole book. Evelyn herself, even from the beginning, is kind of like, you're gonna have all your questions answered. Like, that was the big question from what's her faces, the writers, Monique's like Monique, the whole book is like, why did Evelyn pick me when there's a lot of other equally or more talented writers.
Yeah, Monique has no experience writing a biography or really have that many things published under her name. Yeah. So she feels like, I feel like it's not a spoiler to say Evelyn clearly picked Monique for a reason. Yes. And I feel like it's not a spoiler.
And that reason...
Well, I feel like it's not a spoiler to say that we know that reason by the end of the book.
Yeah, and it's very clear.
Yeah, it's very laid out. This is why Evelyn chose Monique. I did not see... it's clear that there is a reason, and that is what is said over and over, that, like, Evelyn keeps saying, like, oh, well, all your questions will be answered, like you just said. But I feel like that twist, or that reveal, or however you want to phrase it, is not... Like, you couldn't have predicted that, really, until Evelyn gets to the right part of her own story, really.
Sure.
So, which is sort of like a later part of her story. So, if you might have picked up on the reveal, it would have been less than 50 pages before the reveal happens. Yeah. But I did not see that coming, so I liked that element, and it made us both cry.
Oh, yeah. No, both what the twist was and then the reveal of the twist later, which I had predicted, like, not what specifically the twist was, but it was something that was already, like, given to us, because I was like, when we realized, like, we only have like 40 pages left, like, the twist can't be something that hasn't been, like, discovered yet. It has to be something that we've already...
So she just slots the puzzle pieces together for us, but we already have the puzzle pieces, yeah. As for the very end, I saw that coming from the start.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, once...
Everything gets all tied up, and then, you know, the book ends, and I felt like that ending was predicted from the beginning, you know? So I'm kind of like, okay. For me, I really enjoyed the book. I thought that the character of Evelyn in particular was the star of the show. It was her story primarily. I understood Monique's role in the reveal and kind of why that helps layer in extra layers about Evelyn herself. I still feel like personally Monique as a character was kind of I feel like all of her development and oomph and interest was in the last 30 pages.
Yeah.
Like, I really didn't care for her as a character, or care about her really as a character before that. Yes, she had some, like, growth that Evelyn sort of teaches her how to stand up for herself and that kind of thing. Yeah. But I overall was just kind of, like, ambivalent about Monique until the end. Yeah. And even then, I feel like it was very interesting, but it told more about Evelyn's character than it did about Monique's character.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I liked Monique well enough. She's obviously not the main character.
Right.
Like, I think the book presents her that way, but really Evelyn Hugo is
the main character.
Star.
Yeah. I liked Evelyn's story. I felt like it was definitely like the last bit of Evelyn's life. Like, she talks about her late 40s to, like, current day in a very small percentage of the book. Like, most of the book is, like, I mean, I guess from age 14 to, like, 40. And then the last, like, 50 pages are, like, the last 40 years of her life, kind of. Maybe a little more than 50 pages. But it just definitely felt like weighted heavier earlier
That's
on.
true.
But,
that's true.
You know.
It's a sad book. It makes you feel things. It's a fantastic read. I was... Laura said that she's like, I have no problem putting this down, but I'm like, could have slammed this in one.
I think that this was partly how I was consuming it. I was reading it aloud, and I personally feel that I do not retain quite as much information and emotion when I'm reading it out loud. So I feel like if I had been reading it silently to myself or listening to it, it might have had just a smidgen more impact. I'm still going to give it 5 stars just because I really liked it and I had that emotional response to it. But I kind of cry at, like, every book I read. So that's not, like, a total marker. I don't think this was an absolutely perfect book in its construction, but for the message it was trying to get across and the fact that the main takeaway of this book is people are complicated and people have layers, and Evelyn in particular is a woman who was trying to make her way in the world and who used her feminine wiles to get what she wanted and used her wit, used her ability to be sly and be manipulative and to progress. And to outsmart people and to take advantage of being in the right place at the right time and to pull the right strings. And some of the time that made Evelyn seem manipulative or seem catty or seem, you know, too callous, almost very almost like removed, or like why was she not more upset about that? You know, Evelyn makes it clear throughout the whole book she does not regret any of her decisions. She would make the same decisions again, but also we really admire Evelyn for that. Like, so I felt like Evelyn is the star of the show, and this book was crafted in a masterful way to show how complicated she was, but also how relatable she was, even though she's an absolutely drop dead gorgeous, like, famous movie star. Yeah. And, like, the whole book shines because this character was built and shown so humanly and so completely. And to me, that's where this book really, that's what pushed it over the top for me into a full 5 stars. I didn't really care so much about Monique. I felt like that structure was needed to
100%.
To have some sort of final reveals about Evelyn and to bring a little intrigue to the book, but also like just having it be Evelyn Hugo's story, period, without older Evelyn reflecting on her life and kind of more directly talking to Monique and us as the reader about her life lessons. That's really what helped hammer that home as to like what Evelyn learned from her life.
Yeah, I think it's almost kind of better that Monique wasn't like as like strong of a character, because I feel like it really highlights like how powerful Evelyn is. So if you had, you know, Monique and Evelyn both being strong characters, I don't think either one of them would have shined as brightly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if Monique had had a very strong personality, that could have like taken away a little bit from Evelyn, and this was really Evelyn's story. So yeah, for me, final rating,
easy 5 stars.
5
Easy
stars.
5 stars.
Would recommend.
100%.
Was enjoyable. I would read more. I know that this author has come out with a new one recently, like this summer. I think it was called like Malibu something.
Yeah, I've heard this is also being made into like a show or a movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's recently changed like development teams, so it's being made by a different network now, but well, maybe we'll see that in the future. Maybe we'll do a review of that as well.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts? Anything
Fantastic.
else?
Fantastic. I don't have anything to add. Wonderful book.
If you have read this book, then leave a comment down below if you agree.
If you haven't, go and read it right now.
I feel like everyone I know who has read this book has said that they really enjoyed it. I have yet to find anybody who gave it a middle of the road or like 1-star read. So, you know, if you feel that way, definitely leave a comment, because that would be really interesting to find out. So, otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. So we are 50. What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Can you talk to me, please?
I'm good. I know what's going on now.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm starting over. Sorry.
Wow.
All right. We are focused. Okay. Sorry for ruining your comedic timing.
Well.
Hey.
Hi.
Get out of my sandwich.
Get out of my sandwich.
No.
Yeah.
Put the book down. I feel like it's covering your face. You can just leave it all the way down.
That's not a bad thing.
No.